everyone, and welcome to my speech. My name is Katie Montgomery, and this is my audience. Today I'm going to be doing a tribute speech, which is dedicated to somebody who has positively affected my life in several different ways. Can you imagine waking up one morning thinking it was going to be just another normal day, only to end up being rushed to the emergency room for unknown reasons? Well, that nightmare became a reality for me. There was one person throughout my stay at the hospital who greatly impacted my life, and she completely changed my view of hospitals as well as my career path. Today I'm going to be paying a tribute to this person who happens to be Nurse Kathy. Throughout my life I've been in and out of the hospital, and I've had dozens of nurses, but none of them have compared to Nurse Kathy. Nurse Kathy acquired the qualities of kindness, friendliness, and a soothing nature, all of which are extremely important in the profession of nursing. First, I'm going to give you a few examples of how Nurse Kathy positively helped out her patients. First off, nursing is by no means an easy profession. It requires a lot of schooling, hard work, and tiring hours. So it takes a truly special person to be a good, well-rounded nurse. In my opinion, the most important quality for a nurse would be kindness. It's a very simple quality to have, but it's also extremely important in the profession of nursing. Nurse Kathy was always extremely kind to all of her patients. One way in which she was kind was she always listened to all of her patients. If they had any question, even if it was dumb or silly, she always did her best to listen and answer their question to the best of her ability. Obviously, when I was in the hospital, I was extremely scared because we didn't know what was wrong with me or what was going to happen. And Nurse Kathy always did her best to put my mind at ease and try to make me feel better as best as she could. Not only did Nurse Kathy spread her kindness throughout the hospital, but in her free time, she actually volunteered for an organization for victims of domestic violence. Early in her life, Nurse Kathy was actually a victim herself, so she knew firsthand how difficult it could be to deal with all of these problems that came after being abused in such a terrible way. Not only was Nurse Kathy kind, but she was also able to lighten the dark mood of the hospital. Stress affects every nurse, which is completely normal. The job is extremely emotionally as well as physically draining. But the stress never seemed to affect Nurse Kathy. She was always smiling and always had a friendly disposition with everybody she encountered. Nurse Kathy was always smiling and always gave her patients a reason to laugh or to feel good about themselves. Nurse Kathy also put all of her personal problems, as mentioned previously, to the side. When she came to work, her mission was truly about making all of her patients feel the best that they could in their current situations. Many people go into nursing because of the money. Taken from the Occupational Employment Statistics, in Pennsylvania, nurses make an hourly mean wage of $31.25 and an annual mean wage of $65,000. Though the money is extremely good and it is a decent reason to get involved in nursing, it was obviously about more than the money to Nurse Kathy. She truly cared about all of her patients. Besides being friendly, Nurse Kathy was also able to calm somebody down. Nurses need to be able to handle high-stress situations because they occur every day in a hospital atmosphere. In my opinion, Nurse Kathy's greatest quality was her soothing nature. As Layla Dink writes, nurses usually care for individuals who are more vulnerable when illness and other conditions do not allow them to be autonomous and self-regulative. As the quote says, patients need to be able to put their complete trust in their nurses, since they're basically putting their life in that nurse's hands. This can be extremely difficult for many people, especially if they're independent. Nurse Kathy, though, was able to gain complete trust of all of her patients as well as calm them down in seconds. even her most frightened patients, as I once was, could be calmed down in moments by Nurse Kathy. So, I hope you can all see why Nurse Kathy was so special to me. Most of us have had somebody come in and out of our lives who have positively impacted our life in one way or another. Taken from the Nursing Fact Sheet, nursing is the nation's largest healthcare profession with more than 3.1 million nurses worldwide. With so many nurses out there in the world, it makes me feel even more lucky to have been able to cross paths with Nurse Kathy and to have her help me in such a way that she did. The impact she had on me, as well as others, is proven by the fact that nobody ever wanted to leave the hospital once they were discharged. Several of us still go back monthly to visit Nurse Kathy. As Nurse Kathy always said, if I can manage to put a smile on my patients' faces, then that makes all of the stress of this job worthwhile. Nurse Kathy helped me out in more ways than I can describe. She helped me out through probably what was the most scary experience of my life and made it a learning lesson for me. So now, I'm on the road to following in her footsteps, and hopefully one day I can inspire a young girl as Nurse Kathy has inspired me. Thank you.